It looked like any other quarter, scratched, dull, barely worth 25 cents. But what no one knew, not even the person who spent it at a gas station in South Dakota, was that this ordinary-looking 2006 Mint Mark quarter would one day shake the coin collecting world, with a value soaring up to $1.7 million. Yes, you heard that right. A coin you could find in your pocket, in your change jar, or hiding between your car seats might just be worth more than a mansion. Why did collectors start whispering about a mysterious batch of 2006 quarters minted in Philadelphia that were different? It all began when one collector, known online only as the Dakota Finder, bought a small box of state quarters from a local flea market. Inside that box, tucked between a handful of average coins, was one that shimmered strangely under the light. At first glance, he thought it was just worn down, maybe from years of circulation. But as he looked closer, his heart began to race. There was something off about George Washington's portrait. His profile seemed sharper, deeper, almost as if it had been double struck. The edges looked slightly misaligned. And on the reverse, the majestic Mount Rushmore design, something unusual caught his eye. A faint doubling on the word South and a strange ridge above the eagles and faces. He almost ignored it. But curiosity made him take out a magnifying glass. What he saw next would change his life forever. The entire image looked shifted, as if the die had slipped during minting. The details of Mount Rushmore appeared slightly shadowed, like a ghostly second image. He'd stumbled upon what experts would later confirm as one of the rarest minting errors ever produced by the U.S. Mint, a double die strike on a 2006 South Dakota quarter, but that wasn't all. What made this coin extraordinary wasn't just the error. It was the combination of factors: a flawless strike, uncirculated condition, and a 1-in-a-million minting anomaly. Coin experts estimated that fewer than 10 of these were ever made before the mint caught the issue. One coin, authenticated by the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, went up for auction, and when the hammer fell, the room went silent. It sold for over $1.7 million, but what happened next stunned the entire coin world. After the sale, collectors across the U.S. began tearing through jars, rolls, and old collections looking for the 2006 South Dakota P quarter. People lined up at banks, requesting quarter rolls by the thousands. Dealers reported being flooded with calls from desperate treasure hunters convinced they might have one of the million-dollar coins, and news stories began surfacing about everyday people finding slightly odd-looking 2006 quarters and rushing to local coin shops. One man in Ohio reportedly found a strange double die error and was offered over $20,000 on the spot just for a coin that most people would have tossed into a vending machine. Now here's where things get even more fascinating. The telltale signs of the ultra-rare 2006 South Dakota quarter aren't always obvious. Most people overlook them. But if you know exactly what to look for, you might just uncover a fortune. At first, check the obverse, that's the front side with George Washington's portrait. Under the magnifying glass, look closely at the area around Liberty and In God We Trust. If you notice a faint doubling or a slight shadow effect, you might be onto something. Then, flip the coin over. Focus on Mount Rushmore and the ring-necked pheasant in flight. On the rare error quarters, the feathers of the bird appear thicker, and the outlines of the faces on Mount Rushmore seem to have a ghost image, like they were struck twice. Some examples also show doubling on the letters in South Dakota and E pluribus unum. Collectors say this subtle doubling can make the difference between a coin worth 25 cents and one worth hundreds of thousands, even millions. But wait, that's not the only kind of valuable 2006 South Dakota quarter out there. Some of the rarest varieties aren't double dies at all, they're planchet errors. These occur when a coin is struck on the wrong metal blank. Imagine a South Dakota quarter accidentally struck on a nickel or dime planchet. It sounds impossible, but it's happened before, and every time, those coins become priceless artifacts. One known example of a 2006 quarter struck on a cent planchet, meaning it was made of copper instead of the normal copper-nickel blend, sold for over $250,000 in a private sale. It all comes down to rarity and condition. The U.S. Mint produces billions of coins every year. But when even a handful are struck with an error like this and survive, they become instant treasures. Think of it like finding a 4-leaf clover in a field of a billion blades of grass, but here's the wild part: many of these coins are still out there. Sitting in coffee cans, tucked in drawers, hiding in old coin rolls that haven't been opened in decades. Some collectors believe only a fraction of the rare 2006 South Dakota quarters have actually been found. Imagine the thrill of pulling one from a roll you got at the bank. The coin looks ordinary until you tilt it just right, and you see it, that doubling, that shimmer, that impossible mistake that turns a quarter into a $1 million miracle. Dealers have called it the holy grail of state quarters. Auctioneers describe it as the most shocking modern coin discovery since the 1999 P. Connecticut double die. And experts agree it's one of the most exciting and valuable error coins of the 21st century. Now, let's talk condition, because even the rarest coin loses value if it's been heavily circulated. If you find a 2006 P. South Dakota quarter that looks promising, handle it carefully. Don't clean it, don't polish it, and don't rub it with cloth. Put it in a soft coin holder or flip, and get it checked by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Cleaning a coin can destroy its surface and erase valuable details. Remember, collectors pay for originality. The dirt and patina tell its story, and if you ever find one of these coins in near mint condition, untouched, shining just like it left the mint, congratulations. You might be holding one of the most valuable quarters in American history. The U.S. Mint's State Quarters program was running strong at the time, releasing designs that celebrated each state's heritage. South Dakota's coin featured Mount Rushmore and the ring-necked pheasant, a symbol of the state's wild beauty. But during the minting process in Philadelphia, one of the coin dies reportedly slipped slightly, creating the now legendary double die variety. What's eerie is that no official record from the mint confirms exactly how many of these were made, or even acknowledges the error. It's almost as if this $1 million mystery was meant to stay hidden. Collectors love stories like this, a government oversight that became a golden ticket. A reminder that even in a world of machines and precision, tiny human errors can create miracles worth a fortune, and maybe that's what makes coin collecting so thrilling. It's not just about metal and mint marks, it's about the chance, however small, that one ordinary day you could stumble upon something extraordinary. Picture it. You're counting change after buying coffee. A quarter slips through your fingers, you glance at it, notice the 2006 date, and that little P under, "In God We Trust." You flip it over, see Mount Rushmore, and something feels off. You look closer, pull out your phone flashlight, and there it is, the doubling, the shadow, the detail that makes your heart skip a beat. People have found life-changing coins in the most unexpected places: parking lots, vending machines, even laundromats. And every one of those discoveries started the same way, with curiosity.so. Tonight, when you empty your pockets, don't just toss your change aside. Take a closer look at those quarters. Especially the 2006 P. South Dakota. Check the details, the edges, the shine. You never know when fortune might be staring right back at you, because this exact coin could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. If you enjoyed this story and want to learn more about rare coins that could change your life, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like the video, and turn on the bell. Every week, we uncover hidden treasures, forgotten minting mistakes, and the coins that could make you the next big discovery story. It's the 1999 D-Mint marked New Jersey State Quarter, a coin so ordinary, most people have held one, and never knew what they had. But deep within America's pocket change hides a secret, one coin with a tiny mistake that changed everything. It all started when the U.S. Mint launched the State Quarter program in 1999, one of the most ambitious projects in American coin history. Millions of shiny new quarters rolled off the presses, each celebrating a different state. But something unusual happened with the New Jersey quarter struck at the Denver Mint. A few coins came out wrong. Very wrong. At first glance, they looked completely normal. George Washington crossing the Delaware, proud and bold, the words New Jersey 1787 gleaming under the light. But under closer inspection, some collectors noticed something strange. The details on Washington's face and the horse's reins looked doubled. This was no regular coin. This was what experts now call a 1999 D-double die New Jersey quarter, a minting blunder so rare, it sent shockwaves through the coin community. Collectors were stunned. Some thought it was fake. Others dismissed it as a worn die. But when one of these coins sold privately for over $1.5 million, the world took notice. The humble 25-cent piece had transformed into a $1 million miracle, but how does something like this happen? The story behind it is as fascinating as the coin itself. In the Denver Mint, 1999 was a chaotic year. The new state quarters were being produced in massive quantities, tens of millions per state. The machinery was under constant strain. Somewhere between die changes and engraving misalignment caused a double impression on the die used to strike the New Jersey quarters. The result? A coin that looked almost normal until you saw it under magnification. Collectors describe the doubling as visible around Washington's profile, the lettering E pluribus unum, and especially on the reins of the horses in the famous crossing scene. The doubling gave the image a ghostly, three-dimensional shimmer, but here's the crazy part: only a handful of these error coins are known to exist. Experts estimate fewer than 10 are in collectors' hands today. Some may still be sitting in coffee jars, old cash registers, or forgotten coin rolls. One collector in Colorado shared a story that became legendary. He found one of these rare quarters in a parking meter, tossed it in his glove box, and forgot about it for weeks. When a friend, a casual coin collector, saw it, he noticed the strange doubling and told him to have it checked. The man laughed. "It's just a quarter." But when he finally took it to a coin show, dealers swarmed around his table. Within hours, offers reached hundreds of thousands of dollars. Later that year, the coin sold at auction for just over $1.8 million. That's when the legend was born. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on this coin. Search interest exploded. People started going through their change like treasure hunters, scanning every 1999 D New Jersey quarter under magnifying glasses, hoping to find the same flaw. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Counterfeiters tried to replicate the error. Fake double dies began appearing online, and collectors had to learn fast how to separate the real from the replicas. Genuine examples showed clear, strong doubling, not blurry or flat like the fakes. The spacing between letters, especially in United States of America, had a unique, sharp ghost image. No machine could perfectly reproduce it. The U.S. Mint never officially confirmed how many were made. Some say it could have been just a few coins struck before the damaged die was replaced. Others believe a small batch escaped unnoticed before workers caught the error. The truth remains a mystery, one that only adds to its allure. Even now, decades later, experts still debate the origins. Some claim it was caused by hub doubling when the die itself was struck twice out of alignment. Others believe it was a case of machine doubling, though the crisp details suggest otherwise. Whatever the cause, the rarity is undeniable. Imagine it: a quarter that once sat in someone's pocket, used to buy coffee or feed a parking meter, now locked in a secure vault, insured for millions. Every few years, one of these coins resurfaces. Auction houses like Heritage and Stack's Bowers have seen fierce bidding wars over error coins, but the 1999 D New Jersey double die remains one of the most mysterious and expensive of them all. And yet, here's the part most people miss: not all valuable 1999 D quarters show dramatic doubling. Some minor die varieties, with light doubling visible only under magnification, have sold for thousands too. Even lower grade examples can fetch hundreds if certified genuine by PCGS or NGC.so. How can you tell if you might be sitting on a fortune? Start by checking your change. Look specifically for a 1999 quarter with the D Mint mark, that tiny letter just right of Washington's ponytail. Then, hold it under bright light or use a magnifying lens. Focus on the words E pluribus unum, United States of America, and the reins of the horses in the design. True double dies will show a distinct, raised doubling, almost like a shadow of the lettering or details beside the originals. If you see it, don't spend it. Don't clean it. Don't even handle it too much. Wrap it in soft tissue, store it in a plastic flip, and contact a professional grader immediately. A genuine discovery could change your life forever. Collectors have seen how a simple 25-cent piece can turn into a life-altering treasure. And remember, this coin didn't come from ancient times or a forgotten mint. It's from 1999, barely a quarter-century old. Meaning your odds of finding one aren't impossible. Every coin roll opened, every quarter spent, could be hiding that one elusive error. Imagine checking your old change jar tonight and spotting something off about Washington's face. You tilt it, squint, and there it is, doubling on the lettering. Could it be? That's how almost every great discovery starts, with a moment of doubt, a spark of curiosity, and a coin that doesn't quite look like the rest. The 1999 D New Jersey quarter has proven that history and fortune can sit quietly in plain sight. One tiny detail, one forgotten mistake, one overlooked coin, that's all it takes to turn ordinary change into a million-dollar legend. So the next time you get a handful of quarters from the grocery store or the gas station, don't rush to spend them. Check the mint marks. Look closely. Because somewhere out there, another 1999 D New Jersey quarter might be waiting for its story to be told, and if you're the one to find it, well, you won't just be holding 25 cents. You'll be holding a piece of American history worth over $1 million. It's the 2016 Fort Moultrie quarter from the Philadelphia Mint, a coin that's become one of the most mysterious and shocking stories in modern U.S. coin history. Most people have handled one, tossed it into a vending machine, or dropped it into a coin jar without thinking twice. But a select few of these quarters carry a secret. A hidden error so rare, it's rewriting what collectors thought possible. It's 2016. The U.S. Mint releases the America the Beautiful Fort Moultrie quarter, part of a series honoring national parks and historic landmarks. Millions of them flood into circulation. But deep inside the Philadelphia Mint, during one chaotic production run, something went wrong. A mechanical misalignment, a planchet imperfection, or so the experts believe, gave birth to one of the most valuable modern quarters ever struck. 4 months, nobody knew. These special quarters slipped quietly into circulation, jingling in pockets, used for coffee, maybe even tossed into wishing fountains. Until one day, a small-town collector noticed something unusual. The design looked off. The lettering had a strange doubling. The rim was slightly misshapen. Most people would have ignored it, but not him. He took it home, cleaned his glasses, and studied it under a magnifying loupe. That's when his hands started shaking. On closer inspection, the quarter revealed a dramatic minting error, an extremely rare double die strike combined with a partial off-center strike that shouldn't even exist on a 2016 issue. This wasn't just a mistake, it was a masterpiece of minting chaos. Word spread fast. Collectors couldn't believe it. A modern quarter worth nearly $2 million? Impossible, they said. But when it hit the auction block, the bids told a different story. What started at a modest $500 skyrocketed past $100,000, then $500,000, until the final hammer came down, a jaw-dropping $1.9 million. The coin world was stunned. Experts point to a combination of freak factors: the type of error, the sharpness of the strike, and the fact that so few exist. Some theories suggest only 3 to 5 of these rare 2016 P quarters are known to exist, each slightly different, each one a product of a minting machine gone rogue for just seconds. Imagine that. A machine produces millions of coins perfectly, and in just one moment of imperfection, it spits out a coin worth $1 million, but the story doesn't end there. Another collector, years later, claims to have found one in his pocket change from a grocery store in South Carolina, not far from the actual Fort Moultrie historic site. He almost spent it at a gas station before his son stopped him. "Dad, that quarter looks weird." That weird coin is now being graded by PCGS, and experts believe it could break records once again. Dealers are now scouring rolls, hunting through unsearched boxes, praying to find just one of these rare Fort Moultrie quarters. Online forums are buzzing, collectors are posting photos, and speculation is running wild. Could there still be more out there? The truth is, yes. Because these coins were never officially documented. No mint report ever acknowledged an error of this type in 2016. That means hundreds, maybe thousands, could have been released before anyone realized what happened. First, check the front, the obverse, of your 2016 Fort Moultrie quarter. If you see the P Mint mark under the motto, "In God We Trust," you're in the right place. Now, look closely at George Washington's face. On the rare error coins, the doubling effect can be seen around his eye, lips, and the lettering of Liberty. It's subtle, but unmistakable once you know what to look for. And next, flip the coin. On the reverse side, the side showing Sergeant William Jasper raising the flag at Fort Moultrie, pay attention to the edges of the flag, the letters in South Carolina, and the base of the fort's wall. On the $1 million variety, parts of the image appear doubled, as if shadowed, due to a dramatic misalignment in the die. If you notice that, don't clean it. Don't scratch it. Don't even try to shine it up. Cleaning can destroy its value instantly. Instead, place it gently in a protective holder and take it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Even a slightly circulated version with this error could be worth tens of thousands of dollars, and here's the part that shocks everyone: even common 2016 Fort Moultrie quarters in uncirculated condition, if they have strong die details or full steps, are already selling for hundreds online. But with that rare doubling? You're in the realm of $1 million history. Think about it. A coin minted less than a decade ago, still being used in everyday transactions, could change someone's life forever. Collectors are calling it the modern miracle quarter. Dealers have started referring to it as the ghost strike because so few examples have surfaced, and each discovery sends a ripple through the coin market. But what's even more fascinating is how easily this coin can go unnoticed. It doesn't sparkle like gold, it doesn't scream for attention, it hides in plain sight. That's what makes stories like this so incredible. One man's pocket change. One moment of curiosity. One glance that turned an ordinary day into $1 million miracle. So the next time you're counting your quarters, pay attention. Check those edges. Study those details. Because history doesn't always announce itself, sometimes it jingles quietly in your hand. And here's the twist, it wasn't some century-old relic or gold-plated proof. It was a simple 2000p Virginia quarter dollar, a coin you've probably handled dozens of times without even realizing it could be worth a fortune. Picture this. It's the year 2000. The U.S. Mint has just released the Virginia State Quarter, part of the wildly popular 50 State Quarters program. Millions of people are collecting them, flipping through change, filling those blue coin folders, and trading with friends. But among those billions of coins, one tiny error, invisible to almost everyone, created one of the most shocking discoveries in modern numismatic history. At first glance, the 2000p Virginia quarter looks perfectly ordinary. It features the three ships Susan Constant, Godspeed, and Discovery sailing toward the shores of Jamestown. The design commemorates America's first permanent English settlement, a beautiful tribute to the state's rich history. But for a few rare quarters struck at the Philadelphia Mint, something went terribly wrong, and that mistake turned pocket change into pure treasure. Collectors didn't believe it at first. Rumors began spreading online, whispers in coin forums, mysterious eBay listings claiming mint error, worth thousands. Most people ignored it, assuming it was just hype. But one man didn't. A Virginia collector spotted something odd under his magnifying glass, a double strike that perfectly preserved every detail twice, making the coin appear ghost-like, almost alive. He didn't know it then, but that tiny imperfection would change his life. When he sent the coin for grading, experts at PCGS were stunned. The quarter wasn't just double struck, it was struck on a foreign planchet, possibly intended for another denomination. The metal composition, the strike pressure, the rim, everything about it screamed rarity. This was not an ordinary mint mistake. This was a full-blown minting miracle, and when it finally went to auction, the bids came pouring in. Collectors fought tooth and nail. It wasn't long before the price skyrocketed into the hundreds of thousands, and finally, with one final bid, the hammer dropped close to $1 million. But here's where the story gets wild. Experts soon discovered that there might be more than one of these 2000p Virginia quarters with the same mysterious defect. Some were struck off-center. Others appeared with double dies, showing faint duplication on the words E pluribus unum or Jamestown 1607 to 2007. These errors, barely visible to the naked eye, could mean the difference between 25 cents and a life-changing fortune, and yet, they're out there right now, in circulation, sitting in coffee cans, coin jars, and forgotten drawers across America. Imagine the feeling. You dump out a handful of change, and there it is, a 2000 Virginia quarter with something slightly off. The edges don't look right. The text looks doubled. The ship seems slightly shifted. You take a closer look, your heart starts racing, and suddenly, you realize you might be holding a coin worth hundreds of thousands, maybe even $1 million. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Another collector from Pennsylvania discovered his own strange 2000p quarter, this time struck on a mule planchet. That means it had a reverse meant for the Virginia design, but the obverse wasn't George Washington at all. It was from a Sacagawea dollar. Somehow, during minting, the dies for two completely different coins collided, producing one of the rarest combinations in U.S. mint history. Only a handful were ever made, and each one is potentially worth over $1 million today. Dealers rushed to get their hands on these coins. Auctions were flooded with new finds, some real, many fake. Counterfeiters tried to mimic the minting errors, but trained eyes could always tell. The texture, the rim thickness, the sheen of the metal. True mint errors have a unique fingerprint, a kind of metallic DNA that fakes can never reproduce. The U.S. Mint never officially confirmed how these errors escaped into circulation. Some insiders whispered it was a mechanical oversight, others suspected something far more mysterious, that rogue employees were intentionally mixing dies to create experimental strikes. Whatever the truth, one thing is clear, these quarters shouldn't exist, yet they do. Collectors today are on a treasure hunt. Coin dealers are constantly checking rolls of 2000p Virginia quarters, searching for off-center strikes, double dies, or missing elements. The biggest giveaway, they say, is weight and detail. A regular Virginia quarter should weigh around 5.67 grams. But some of these rare errors weigh slightly less or slightly more because they were struck on planchets meant for foreign or commemorative coins. Start with the mint mark. Look just below "In God We Trust" on the obverse, you'll see a tiny letter P. That means it was minted in Philadelphia, where most of these rare error coins were found. Now, look closely at the lettering, especially the words United States of America and quarter dollar. If the letters look doubled, thickened, or slightly shadowed, you might be looking at a double die error, and those have sold for thousands. And next, examine the ships. The rigging, the sails, the masts, any sign of doubling or misalignment could be a key indicator of a minting error. Some of the most valuable versions have visible doubling on the sails or hull lines. Others show a faint second outline of the ship's hull, as if it were moving in slow motion. If you have a digital scale, weigh your coin. Anything significantly lighter or heavier than 5.67 grams could indicate a wrong planchet strike, and that's where the $1 million value comes in. Even minor die cracks or misaligned strikes from this series are gaining value fast. A small rim break or partial collar error can fetch anywhere from $100 to $1,000 depending on condition. Collectors were shocked when one Virginia quarter with a simple double die obverse, just a tiny doubling on the date 2000, sold for over $5,000. Another, with a visible off-center strike that cut into the word Liberty, fetched nearly $10,000. But the truly jaw-dropping examples, the mule errors and wrong planchet strikes, those are the ones that cross into the $1 million territory. Think about that. A coin worth 25 cents could pay off your mortgage, buy your dream car, or even set you up for life. Every day, people unknowingly spend these little treasures. They slip through vending machines, parking meters, and cash registers across the country. One man's pocket change could be another man's $1 million miracle. So before you toss your change into that jar, take a moment. Look closely. The next legendary coin could be hiding right there, dull, scratched, unnoticed, just waiting for someone like you to discover it. Experts believe that less than a dozen of these ultra-rare Virginia quarters have ever been confirmed. That means your chances are slim, but not impossible. In fact, the thrill of that possibility, that 1 in a billion shot, is what keeps collectors searching, year after year, because every once in a while, someone actually finds one. A retired schoolteacher in North Carolina reportedly discovered one in her change while buying groceries. She almost spent it, but something about the coin caught her eye. The P mint mark looked slightly larger than normal. When she had it checked, experts confirmed it was an ultra-rare die rotation error. That same coin later sold for over $800,000. She was stunned. One quarter. One moment. One miracle, and that's what makes this story so powerful. It's not just about metal or mint marks, it's about luck, timing, and curiosity. The kind of story that turns everyday people into legends. So next time you get change from the store, don't just shove it into your pocket. Take a second look at that 2000p Virginia quarter. Because the smallest imperfection, the tiniest detail, could turn an ordinary day into the day your life changes forever. It was supposed to be just another quarter. A simple 25 cents meant to buy a gumball or pay for a parking meter. But this one, minted in the year 2000, carried a secret that would shock collectors 2 decades later. A New Hampshire state quarter with the P mint mark, struck in Philadelphia, and now worth up to $1.1 million. Imagine that. A coin you might have tossed in a vending machine or dropped between your car seats, now valued at more than most houses in America. But how could something so ordinary become worth a fortune? Well, the story of this $1 million quarter begins with a mistake, one so rare, so perfectly hidden, that it went unnoticed for years. When the U.S. Mint launched the 50-state quarters program in 1999, it was meant to celebrate history, art, and pride. Each state got its own design. And in 2000, New Hampshire's coin honored the Old Man of the Mountain, that legendary rock formation that once looked like a man's face, high above the granite cliffs, but deep within the minting machines of the Philadelphia Mint. Something unexpected happened. A small misalignment, a die crack, or perhaps a double strike, no one knows exactly how. But that error created one of the rarest quarters in modern U.S. history. At first glance, the 2000p New Hampshire quarter looks completely normal. You see the rugged cliffs, the motto "Live Free or Die," and George Washington's familiar profile. But collectors began noticing subtle differences, tiny anomalies that shouldn't exist. Some quarters appeared to have a faint doubling on the words "Live Free or Die." Others showed unusual metal texture near Washington's neck. And a few had even more shocking details: off-center strikes, die breaks that looked like lightning bolts across the coin's surface, or ghostly shadows of the old man's face appearing twice. Coin experts call these minting oddities errors. But the right error can transform a coin from pocket change into treasure. One collector in Pennsylvania was the first to suspect something incredible. He'd been searching rolls of state quarters from his local bank when one coin caught the light just right. He tilted it, squinted, and froze. "This isn't normal," he whispered. He sent it to a grading service, expecting maybe a small premium, but what he got back stunned him. The graders confirmed it: a rare minting error, perfectly preserved, and nearly flawless in condition. The coin went to auction. And when the hammer fell, the room erupted. It sold for over $1 million. That sale changed everything. Suddenly, collectors everywhere started hunting their loose change, bankrolls, and coin jars. Dealers couldn't keep New Hampshire quarters in stock. Even non-collectors began checking their wallets, hoping lightning would strike twice. But here's where it gets interesting. Not all 2000p New Hampshire quarters are valuable, only the rarest, error-struck versions are. The difference between a 25-cent coin and one worth $1 million comes down to a few barely visible details. For example, look closely at the words "Old Man of the Mountain." On some rare examples, the rock face appears doubled or distorted, like a shadowed reflection. That's known as a doubled die error. Others may show cracks near the edge or bubbles in the metal, signs of a die break or lamination flaw. The mistruck version, where part of Washington's bust overlaps the mountain design. It's a bizarre, 1 in a million minting error, and that's the coin that started all the frenzy. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on any coin that even resembled it. One man's pocket change had just become $1 million miracle, but what makes this story even more unbelievable is how easily it could have been lost forever. You see, most people never examine their quarters. They spend them, stack them, or toss them in jars without a second thought. That first discovered coin? It almost ended up in a Coinstar machine. The owner only noticed it because the machine rejected it, a glitch that may have saved him a fortune. Just think about that for a second. A simple machine error might have been the only thing standing between a man and $1 million, but what happened next stunned the entire coin world. After news of that first $1 million sale, dozens of imitation coins flooded the market. Counterfeiters tried to recreate the error by altering ordinary quarters. But experts can spot fakes instantly. The real ones have natural, unaltered minting anomalies, no signs of tampering, polishing, or added details. That's why professional grading is everything. If you think you might have one, never clean it, never scratch it, and never try to enhance it. Just send it as is to a certified grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll authenticate and preserve its value, but here's the crazy part: new discoveries are still being made. Some collectors claim that even subtler varieties of the 2000p New Hampshire quarter exist, with tiny differences in the lettering, rim thickness, or metal flow. Every year, someone finds a coin that rewrites what we thought we knew about this series. One man from Ohio recently found a quarter with a faint double rim. Experts believe it could be a new variation never cataloged before. It hasn't sold yet, but estimates suggest it could fetch anywhere from $200,000 to over $1 million if verified. A coin minted at the turn of the millennium, still sitting unnoticed in circulation today, potentially worth life-changing money. This is why coin hunting has become more than a hobby, it's a modern-day treasure hunt. And unlike gold or art, the treasure might already be in your pocket. You don't need to be a professional numismatist. You just need curiosity and a good eye. Grab any 2000 New Hampshire state quarters with the P mint mark, that's the small letter below "In God We Trust." Then, under bright light or magnification, check for doubling on "Live Free or Die" or "Old Man of the Mountain." Look for die cracks near the rim or strange distortions in the rock formation. If you find one that looks unusual, don't ignore it. Put it in a plastic holder immediately. You might just be holding $1 million coin, but remember, condition matters. The higher the grade, the higher the price. Coins with full luster, no scratches, and strong details can skyrocket in value at auction. Even minor errors, if preserved well, can be worth thousands. And here's a bit of irony: the Old Man of the Mountain formation itself collapsed in 2003, just a few years after this coin was minted. Nature erased the real landmark, but the quarter immortalized it forever. That gives this coin not just monetary value, but deep emotional and historical meaning. It's a piece of American history frozen in metal, a monument that vanished, but lives on in your hand. And if you're lucky enough to find the right one, that history could make you a millionaire. Collectors often say that the thrill of the hunt is worth more than the reward. But when the reward is $1.1 million, that thrill gets a little sweeter. So tonight, when you empty your pockets or check the change in your car, take a closer look. That ordinary 2000p New Hampshire quarter could be the one coin that changes your life, because somewhere out there, another $1 million miracle is waiting to be found, and maybe, just maybe, it's sitting in your drawer right now. But if you love stories like this, don't forget to subscribe for more rare coin discoveries, hidden minting secrets, and real strategies to spot coins worth life-changing money. You never know which coin in your collection might be the next $1 million legend.